In the case of Ukraine, the war started in 2014, when Georgia was attacked on August 8, 2008, they knew a few months before that it would be attacked by Russia, thanks to the information provided by Frank-Walter Steinmeier to Mikhail Saakashvili. I assume from the German intelligence services. Ukraine was attacked by Russia on February 24, 2022, and the Moldovan authorities did nothing to defend this country. From February 24 until now, all Moldovans could be trained with all the Javelin, NLAW, etc. systems, but nothing has been done. If Moldova is attacked, only the Moldovan authorities will be traitors because they did nothing. If they mobilize only when the Russians attack, then Moldovans will become cannon fodder, because it is 20 kilometers from Vajel Voivode to Chisinau, and untrained Moldovans will be cannon fodder. And who do you think they will mobilize? Moldovans who stole with their children, or those who are against the Russians? When you have a Popescu in the government of Moldova, with soldiers who do not do their job, it should have been a mobilization for a long time, with intelligence services who smuggle with those from Tiraspol. Any chance of winning against the Russians is ruined from the start. The traitors of the country are the ones who urge peace, so that Moldovans do not train and receive defensive technique, so that when the Russians attack us we will be an easy prey for them. I beg Cossacks whores not to even dare to call the Romanians who will leave traitors or cowards. Because you are the real traitors. Romanians from Moldova who will leave when the Russians attack, have the right to leave Moldova for Romania to be enlisted in the Romanian army, and we will see how things will turn out in Moldova along the way. Update /March 14, 2022. For 3 years when I was in Canada in Montreal and Trois-Rivières in Quebec, I think I lived in more than 10 homes, and the first thing I noticed was that they do not use gas. Just an electric hob that heats better than a gas stove. Canadians also heat with electricity. How Canadians can live without gas and Moldovans, Romanians, and all Europeans cannot live without gas. Gas is the main source of funding for the Putin regime and the war against Ukraine. The Republic of Moldova must create alternative resources for obtaining electricity, wind/solar energy, at an affordable price for Moldovan citizens, and completely give up Russian gas. Those who have companies that depend on Russian gas only have to reshape themselves. The fact that we have to get rid of Russian energy dependence is not even discussed. If Canadians can, why can't we do it? The Germans with their financial and technological resources could very quickly get rid of the Russian gas, but the question is, why did they not do it? The question is, how many Schröders are there in the German government? Energy security together with the military security must be a priority for the Republic of Moldova. Update /March 18, 2022. The city of Mariupol will be occupied in the coming days. Some of the Russian military will remain to do cleaning, and the rest of the military will be redirected to other areas such as Nikolov. Our idiots in the leadership of Moldova say that those in Transnistria would not want to get involved or are not interested in participating in the conflict. How stupid you must be to say such a thing. The people from Chisinau really think that the people from Tiraspol are honest with them, and even if the people from Tiraspol would not want to get involved, do you think that the Russians are interested in their position or that of the Transnistrian businessmen? The Russians have gone against the whole world, and you really think they care what the people of Transnistria think about them? The Russians have their plan and they will try to carry it out. We gave them all the power to 2 idiots. One is diversionary, from the presidency, and the other, from the government, is really stupid, and Igor Grosu is damn incompetent. These idiots who have remained in the force structures only know how to smuggle cigarettes, criminal files made to order by the bosses, cheap and directed shows and stupid projects during the war. The resignation of the government and Maya Sandu's advisors and their replacement with professional Moldovan soldiers, including the resignation of the Minister of Defense and the Director of SIS. You and your idiots are destroying this country. Update March 21, 2022 Andrei Plop, the citizens of Transnistria have received messages such as from Moldovan citizens, Romanian nationalists, that they want to escape the Russian occupation and that several schools have explosive/bombs. It is nothing more than a diversion of Russia to find a reason to attack Moldova and to occupy Transnistria. From the beginning, the Russians had a plan to occupy the territories that belong to Moldova, and the rest are pretexts to attack this country. Take a good look at the map of Moldova now, because you see it for the last time. Moldova with its current borders, you see them for the last time. Moldova's existence is in question. Russian diversionists from the Moldovan government and presidency are doing their best to hand over the country to the Russians. Update/March 22, 2022 Never forget the history of Moldova and the year 1940, when the Soviet Union occupied Bessarabia and organized the deportations of Moldovans to Siberia and organized famine. Times have changed and the Russians probably won't deport Moldovans anymore, but it's enough to watch how peaceful/civilian Ukrainians are beaten, and those who still don't know, please look at posts/videos. If Alexei Navalny was arrested and had a huge popularity in Russia and abroad, do you think the Russians can arrest you? I have been writing since February 14 that a general mobilization needs to be done, but mobilization is not and probably will not be, or will be too late. I, the undersigned, Plop Andrei, I will not leave Moldova until Moldova is attacked by the Russians. I want to believe that it will be a mobilization, and I will try to get my hands on the weapons if the state demands it. I do not instigate war, and the purpose of this post is to be prepared for any scenario. If the Moldovan authorities do nothing to defend Moldova, then all I have to do is leave Moldova. Update/March 24, 2022. Reply for Ion Sturza. On February 14, I wrote an article, Why Moldova has a General Mobilization and a Professional Army. And at the end of this article I wrote, and men who want to attack at this essential moment the Supreme Commander of the Moldovan Army, or to hiding behind his wife's skirt, is your right. Men who do not want to defend their mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters have no moral right to call themselves men. Yesterday Ion Sturza posted a post on Facebook, and it seems that he is plagiarizing me. Ion Sturza, the man in us. I've seen some polls these days. Only 20% of the young men on both sides of the prut would be ready to defend their country. Only 20. I also talked to many young people in my entourage. No one is ready. All kinds of excuses. One does not see well, another does not hear. Instead, many of my generation are ready to do it. Why? I bet defending your country is not abstract to them. It's real. To protect your family, children, grandchildren. There is also a little dignity and humanity. I don't want to be pathetic, but something is happening to us men. More and more we hide behind the woman's skirt, mother, wife, friend. She takes our bag, puts us on the table, mourns us. Mr. Sturza, I have proposed a general mobilization, and I am a young person and the mobilization has not yet taken place. Whose fault is it? And the fact that some young people do not want to fight is due first of all to your generation of failed politicians, thieves, corrupt, stupid, incompetent like you, Dyakov, Bragis, Lusinski, Voronin, Roska, Dodon, Gresianii, Tarlev, Lupu, Gimpiu, Urechianu, Filat, and other idiots who use state resources to get rich. The Republic of Moldova did not have a class of politicians like those in the Baltic states. The Moldovan army is practically destroyed, and that is due to you. We, this younger generation, love our country and have more character than you, smarter than you, because we have studies abroad and we were not educated in communism. In vain Maya Sandu has studies at Harvard if she worked for the Communist Party, and no matter how much she would try to study abroad, she will not change her mind because she remains a communist at heart. You can't become a liberal from a communist. Some of you have only changed the name of the parties, but you have remained a communist in your mind. In order to fight the Russians, in addition to courage, you need training and modern weapons/equipment to fight the orcs. You don't do any training or weapons, you didn't ask Blinken/Biden, and you want us to fight the Russians. With what weapons to fight the Russians? Only with Kalashnikov? We don't even have armored vehicles. Air defense too. Drone, NLAW, Javelin, Stinger. And you want us to fight against the Russians. With what weapons to fight the Russians? In the Soviet Union, martial arts were banned, and if they were trained, only those in the special forces were trained, or there were no coaches. Physically and morally we are better prepared than you. But with martial arts and only Kalashnikov, you have no chance against the Russians. We, the young people, are ready to fight only with the Moldovan leaders who participated in NATO military operations. Update/March 27, 2022. About the city of Mariupol. I wrote in this article, and not to come back, please read this full article. This city is like lost. The same scenario will go with Kharkov. The Russians are mobilizing and regroups much of its resources even from areas near Kiev to conquer the Ukrainian territory where the resistance is not so great. Ukrainians will have to go on the attack in areas where the Russians will go, or they will have to watch other cities fall. The Russians made so many mistakes that it seemed to me that they are amateurs to make a plan of attack. Fighting on several fronts at once and getting beaten up everywhere seemed like a mistake. It seems that the Russians have only now understood what to do. Ukrainian soldiers are deployed in several cities, and they will now go on the same scenario as in Mariupol. The city will surround it, cut off any connection for Ukrainian soldiers to receive reinforcements, ammunition, equipment, etc., and then go into street fighting, control the airspace, and leave the Ukrainians without a chance. From a military point of view, it was politically and humanely correct that no reinforcements were sent to the Ukrainian military in Mariupol to be taken out of the encirclement, but it will cost them dearly from a political point of view, the current elite of Kiev. The Russians are destroying everything related to Ukraine's oil reserves. We must admit that it destroys all the infrastructure of Ukraine. The Russians are successful in the southern part of Ukraine, and you will see how the Russians react after occupying all of Mariupol. I still believe that the Russians plan to occupy Odessa, but the Russians are trying to cover their backs, and let us not forget that Odessa is a few kilometers from Moldova and Romania, which is a NATO member. The Moldovan authorities are reacting in the dumbest way to the risks in the region. They are doing exactly what the Russians would do if they ruled Moldova. Update/March 28, 2022. The President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky stated on Sunday, in an interview given to the Russian press, that he wants to sign an agreement with Romania for the protection of the Romanian language in the neighboring state, as a sign of respect for the Romanian minority. Such agreements could also be signed with other Ukrainian neighbors, including Poland and Hungary. If Zelensky talks about such actions during the war with Russia, it means only one thing: he is afraid of not receiving knives in the back from neighboring allies. Talking at the level of the president or government of Romania during the war with Russia about the rights of the Romanian minorities in Ukraine means that you are a political amateur or an imbecile. If other Romanians who are not Romanian officials and demand the rights of Romanians are increased, and some miserable people even talked about taking over the territories that once belonged to Romania, it corresponds perfectly with Putin's plan to destroy Ukraine.